It's a collection you've got to check out. Up next, you're going to meet a Bay Area man with some rare items from the Titanic. We're talking the movie and the real ship. Well, it is hard to believe, but next month marks the 90th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic.
The movie made us all fans of the doomed luxury liner, obviously, but one Santa Rosa man has a special connection to the film and to the remnants of the ship, touted as unsinkable.
ABC 7's arts and entertainment reporter Don Sanchez with a look.
And we are opening this for the first time ever since I've owned it.
Tony Probst and I are taking a first look at a layout of the Titanic that was given to passengers. It's one of hundreds of pieces from the ship and the film that he owns, displayed next to the high-end audio and video equipment in his store, Audio View showroom.
I like to see people's expressions when they see it, and that's why it's all open to the public for free in the store here for everybody to see. I enjoy showing it off.
And share a brass nameplate taken from lifeboat number 2. There are only 6 of the nameplates known to exist.
This is a piece of a deck chair that is from Titanic, and you can see the little name holder where passengers would have their name inserted. This is actually one of the rarest cups ever. This is
the only example of a cup used by the crew. There are plates and patterns designed just for the Titanic. Here's an original first class on the right, a reproduction from the film on the left. A checkerboard made entirely from wood that floated to the surface. There was no carpeting on the ship, instead tiles made of what we know as linoleum. And here's something very rare, a life ring with a date stamped on it.
1912.
How many of these are in existence?
There are only 2.
It was a ship of unparalleled luxury. Probst has always been fascinated with the sea. As a child, he sailed with his parents around the world for 15 years. Oh, by the way, the movie collection. He has nearly 100 Hollywood autographs on canceled checks, including a stop payment signed by Groucho Marx. Movies, memorabilia, and entertainment appropriately in a modern media museum. In Santa Rosa, Don Sanchez, ABC 7 News.
Pete has quite the movie collection as well.
Yeah, and that's your China pattern. I thought that's interesting. That's it for ABC 7 News at 6 o'clock. I'm Pete Wilson.
I'm Jessica Aguirre. I'll be back at 11. We'll have complete election coverage for you then.
And in tonight's North Bay Trails segment, a collector of Titanic proportions. Well, in tonight's North Bay Trails, we meet a collector of Titanic proportions. News Channel 50's Curtis Kim says you can forget the stamps, coins, or trading cards. You might say this Santa Rosa man has gone overboard.
Right after the movie was released, I came out of the movie theater and said to myself, no matter what it takes, I'm going to get me a piece of Titanic, and this is now probably close to the 3rd largest collection, private collection of, around.
After seeing that movie, Tony Probst was on top of the world. The owner of Audio Video Showroom in Santa Rosa, he got the bug to own some memorabilia from the ill-fated ship.
This is a lifeboat plaque off of lifeboat number 2. These were on the lifeboats that were screwed on, and they had a White Star Line flag with the lifeboat number on it.
As you can imagine, every piece of Titanic memorabilia Probst owns is extremely rare, including this life jacket, which did more harm than good.
Because they were made of cork and they floated very well, and you had a certain velocity, obviously when you're jumping for more than 15, 20 feet up, when you hit the water, they broke your neck.
And then there's the deck chair, probably recovered because somebody was clinging to it.
Also to know that somebody's life ended hanging on to this is also, it adds a little bit of emotion to it as well.
Over the years, the Titanic has spawned a morbid fascination about the tragedy and the events that followed.
This is written by Mr. Graham. He was a first-class passenger who didn't make it, and it's on Titanic letterhead, and it has Titanic's postmark here.
Probst has been in business in Santa Rosa for 20 years, but it wasn't until he moved to his new facility on Santa Rosa Avenue that he had these special display cases built for his Titanic artifacts.
There's a couple of pieces in the collection into the 6 figures. Yeah, and most of it is at least a few thousand or more.
You might say his showroom, like the Titanic, is now larger than life. Cruising along the North Bay Trails in Santa Rosa, Curtis Kim, News Channel 50.
And if you'd like to see the Titanic artifacts, you can stop by the Audiovisual Showroom on Santa Rosa Avenue during regular business hours. There's no cost.
Now, of course, we featured a lot of collectors here on Evening Magazine, some collections worth millions and millions of dollars. Tonight, a man from Santa Rosa named Tony Probst has another multi-million-dollar collection, this time from one of history's most tragic moments.
And this guy here at the end, it gives me the chills every time I look at him. If you look at his hands, it looks like he's still cold. This is an original chair. It was recovered from the McKay Bennett. Most likely a body, somebody passed away hanging on to this.
Tony Probst's panache for collecting started with canceled celebrity checks. Jimmy Stewart, Lucy and Desi, even Beach Boy Brian Wilson's $90 check to a maid. But these days, he's gone overboard for the Titanic. His collection is now as mammoth as the ship itself.
This, I believe I paid, I think it was 10,000 pounds. So roughly about $16,000.
It happened on a cold Atlantic night, April 14th, 1912. One of the more notable disasters of the 20th century.
At nighttime, when you're alone in the building by itself and you sit and you look at the letters that somebody has written, a deck chair that somebody had died on, the life jacket that obviously somebody died in, it does bring out some emotion.
He owns hundreds of one-of-a-kind pieces. Wood from the grand staircase, the world's rarest china, letters which can fetch $86,000 at auction, benches used in the movie, items which mark the end of time.
And she finally went underwater at 20 minutes after 2 in the morning. And we can see that this watch actually stopped 15 minutes later, so it ran approximately another 15 minutes in the water or wherever it was before it stopped.
With a collection this large, it's surprising that what's now displayed in a corner of his Santa Rosa home theater showroom began only 5 years ago when he saw the movie.
And came out of the movie, and I told myself I'm going to try and get a piece of the ship no matter what it takes. And now I have probably, I believe to be about the 3rd largest collection in the world.
The pride of his collection? A telling series of letters and belongings of one Jonathan Gill, a passenger. Tony purchased them from the family of Gill's widow.
These are letters from the White Star Line telling her that her husband was safe and he was going to be brought to Halifax. And then she got letters saying that your husband had died and his body was going to be taken to Halifax. Can't wait. No, it's talk about adrenaline rushes. This is my adrenaline rush.
It happens often. A new purchase is delivered, but this one is special. The final piece for his tribute to Jonathan Gill.
So this is the Gill's marriage certificate. So John Gill, he was age 24, bachelor, he was a chauffeur. You can see I'm beaming from ear to ear here. I haven't actually gone through and priced it all out, but there's there's a couple $1 million worth of stuff probably.
A few million and growing. It's a sobering memorial to our past, and it all started from watching a movie. Tony has in his collection one of the few remaining life jackets that was actually aboard the Titanic. You can view the whole collection online at audiovisualshowroom.com, and you can fill this up right here, I suppose.